You and I on my futon, hold it up and smoke it. Transgression, a progression of a war we ain't asked for. Transgression, a progression of a war we ain't asked for.
It's madness, yo. All the things that we could talk about.
Call it.
But let's talk about these urban circumstances real quick.
And basically, it's
we got this.
So,
revolutionary.
Frosty hand. Muhammad is the fame's name, forever stand.
Standing on royal fusing of justice for the few, ridiculed by the pale terrorists, bent on genocidal obsession, rooted in fear of neglection and abandonment, fueled by nightmares of ancestors' jealousy.
because at the end of the day, I still want to be able to I don't dislike George Washington.
The kind of friends I think all friends should be like my friends. My friends are the kind of friends I think everyone needs. My friends see the things at times I don't see. My friends hate the police.
What has changed?
Are deemed the criminals, and the blacks are deemed the criminals.
Shut up and help.
Reflection ain't nothing but the inner child trying to see you. You gonna look? You gonna pick up that book?
Lord, keep me far from the faith. Guide me through night and day. Teach me your ways. Show me the righteous way to sway. Lord, can you teach me, please? Show me the way, I'd say.
Good morning, 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 good morning. My bad, I didn't grab my mic. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. How's everybody doing this morning? What I'm going to be talking about today is, and I want people to listen because I'm going to compare a lot of things that are going on in America from Israel-Palestine. We're going to be talking, how am I going to say, with Charleston White. I would love to have a conversation with Charleston White, and I'm going to talk that into existence because I think, we get so carried away with people's delivery instead of listening. You know what I'm saying? We get so caught up with the words because right now, and this is for me because I have a lot of mentors, some are deceased and some are still here, and I get caught up because, we're in a time right now where I feel like people want to bring in religion and they want to talk about God. And at the end of the day, I don't know if I have I have my own understanding with God. You know what I'm saying? Because I see it as, for me, and this is something that we're going to talk about today with the faith-based initiatives, something that President Bush, ex-President Bush, former president, whatever you want to call them, did as legislation to make it easier for churches, regardless of their size, to be able to do services for their community. But see, what people don't realize is that legislation ruined the Black church, right? Because the Black church was already doing see, this is one thing that I think people miss, right? Because during the civil rights era, who was the leader of that movement? The civil rights. Who was the leaders of that movement? It was the church. It was the reverends. You didn't see no activists. They weren't on the front lines. You had the pastors, right? You had the pastors, Reverend Martin Luther King, right? Malcolm X, who was a teacher, right? For the Nation of Islam. for black people, right? You had, see, I don't see Fred Hampton and Huey Newton, Medgar Evers. These people are educated, maybe not educated in the terms that we see today or that we want to compare. But I'll tell you right now, those were educated people because they had knowledge. They were trying to deprogram and reprogram people, just like how we're trying to do today. But people get caught up on delivery, right? They get caught up on delivery. And what I'm starting to notice is that it's something that even, when we talk about music and you have the labels, but see, without the creator and without the consumer, the labels don't have shit, right? So just like with the churches, the black churches and our black leaders, right? The politicians and the establishment is just like the labels in Hollywood and everything else. They run this shit, right? But see, they do it, they give the money and the power, right, to these community leaders because they have a what? Because who are we? We're the consumer, right? So the bigger of the masses you have, the more power you have. Why do you think BLM was able to do the things that they were able to do? Why Derek Chauvin was convicted of a crime that he didn't do? The same thing with Marvin Haynes. The same thing we'll say with a lot of cases, Philip Vance. Because it's a narrative that is led to us by the media, right? A narrative, we don't never get the truth, right? Just like in Minneapolis right now, there's a situation, and I know I'm probably I don't even care. People are going to call me whatever they're going to call me, but facts are facts, right? There's a situation that politicians have picked up a murder and trying to turn it into a hate crime, a trans, whatever, right? But they don't ever want to give you all the answers. They don't ever want to give you all the facts. They want to leave you guessing. And what doesn't help at all is you have the politicians, because it's an election year, right? Let's put it out there. It's an election year, and they need everything and anything to be able to win. So what do you think they're going to do? They're taking things that really shouldn't just let it be, because first of all, they have somebody in jail, but yet they want to up the charges to turn it into a hate crime when it's already a murder, right? Regardless of how this young man may have felt, right? Because I'm going to tell you like this, I don't call it a hate crime, right? Because it wasn't a hate crime. It wasn't a hate crime on Savannah Ryan Williams, who I knew in Stillwater as Miguel Chesky. Regardless of how they wanted to be seen today is regardless, right? Because they're still a human being. But my problem is the same thing that is going out on these streets, they were doing in prison. And I started to really look at it because, when I met Miguel, aka Savannah, aka Miguel, whatever y'all want to do it, right? The former in prison. And the thing that bugged me is because, especially about like Stillwater, St. Cloud, if you've never been in these penitentiaries, it's bars. They don't have doors, they're bars, right? And they got tiers. But they always wanted to put the gay people, they always wanted to put the gays by the showers, right? So Miguel, Savannah, was one of them that always used to yell out of the bars when people would be in the showers. So Buddy was always getting their ass whooped for the simple fact of that not everybody played like that. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing out here is you have people that pretend, I'm not even going to say pretend, right? That want to be something that God did not intend for them to be, right? And then they some people that cross dressers, whatever, drag queens, whatever, maybe look good as women. I don't think so. You know what I'm saying? But that's just, hey, it is what it is. That's just my opinion. I don't care if I get canceled, whatever. At the end of the day, I don't have a problem with people being, I love everybody. I don't have a problem with being who you want to be. But the fact that the minute we start writing legislation that affects our kids and teaching it in schools where it really, why is sexuality being taught in school? That's not something that should be, okay, sex education, yes, right? But that's why parents are literally pulling their kids out of school. And I know I'm way off today, right, this morning, but that's why people are pulling their kids out of schools for the simple fact of they're teaching sexual ideology and not education, right? They're indoctrinating our kids to be okay with something that if it's not taught at home, why are you teaching it at school? If it's not something that is talked about, I know sex education could be something that's probably not talked about, and it should be, you know what I'm saying? But sexual identities and genders and no, that's not something that should be taught in school. No, it shouldn't be. And that's why I have the issues that I have, because we're indoctrinating our kids. You can't tell me that our grandparents were learning this in school, or our parents, or even shit. I know for damn well that literally I didn't know nothing about transgenders until I was an adult, right? Didn't even know nothing. I knew there was drag queens because the shit would be all, you know what I'm saying? Minneapolis had the gay area, they had the gay 90s, they had the saloon, you know what I'm saying? They had all that shit. But at the end of the day, I really didn't know nothing about the lingo and all this pansexual and all these other words until I was an adult and had my own kids. So with that being said, I want to get into Charleston White, his take on Palestine and Israel. And I think it's a very good take because he gets into, and I think people can really compare it to the times, really, and what I mean by the times is the era. So let me play this real quick. It's about 8 minutes long, and then we'll talk about it because he really makes some very good points.
Because credit beat the feds. If you maintain good credit, nigga, you don't need to show a motherfucking thing, nigga. Your FICO score.
All right.
Somebody with credit.
There you go. Because credit beat the feds. If you maintain good credit, nigga, you don't need to show a motherfucking thing, nigga. Your FICO score, nigga, can keep them people off your motherfucking ass. Jeez. But nigga, that's a whole nother topic. We'll talk about that another time.
Yeah. So, but yeah, before we leave,
Charleston is bad, but
they ain't getting nothing but gems the entire night. They almost got too much.
They got too much.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But before we dip out, as a man, I'm intrigued to hear what your take on everything that's going on with Israel and Palestine. Not too in depth because I don't want to get too far into it.
Well, let me just say this.
That's murky water, boy.
Those are two brothers fighting. One brother is wrong. The brother that looked like he's right is wrong. The brother that's looked like he a wrong, low down, dirty motherfucker
Still wrong.
is the brother. It's the brother who had love and compassion for the brother who looked like he's doing right. That's mistreating his brother that looked like he's doing wrong. The Palestinians, when the Jews came from the Holocaust, America didn't take the Jews. They took the Nazis. They took in the Germans, the Nazis. That's where Trump and them come from. Because we wanted their scientists. But the Palestinians say, well, the Jews can come here. Nobody wanted the Jews. They had nowhere to go after Germany, homie, the Holocaust. The Palestinians said, man, y'all come here, man, y'all our brothers. You have to understand what goes on between Abraham and them two brothers. And the birthright, that's what's going on over there.
Way back.
The Palestinians is the brother who say, man, we know y'all's wrong and we got different mamas. Your mama was rich. Our mama was a low down hoe, supposed to be, but she had good love. Your mama wasn't right. Your mama was jealous, but you our brother. And you can come here even though y'all been mistreated. Y'all come here. We're going to give y'all this and we're going to have this. The land that y'all get is a little messed up than ours. Meaning the Jews got the messed up land when they came out the Holocaust. They worked and they worked. And they took rocks and built Israel. Only to begin to take their brother's land. And their brothers are saying, God damn, man, y'all didn't have nowhere to go after this. Man, y'all gonna come do it like this? Nigga, this our land. Nigga, fuck you talking about. My mom, we Abrahams. We was the firstborn seed. Y'all ain't this. And they saying, man, y'all.
We spared y'all.
Nah, homie. We loved y'all and embraced y'all when after y'all had been wore down, beat down, destroyed. Y'all my brother, even though we got different mamas, the same daddy. Because our mamas don't like each other, we'll learn not to like each other. Because my mama hated your mama, I learned to hate you.
Just off that.
And that's what's happening. See, Abraham and Sarah, one of them was his woman, the other one was it, man, go on fuck your cousin because I can't give you no baby. So Israel is wrong. Israel is wrong. They got every tool and every capability to oppress Palestine, to listen in on them. It's almost like 9/11.
But weren't they attacked first though? Isn't that the argument?
There's a conspiracy that we attacked ourselves on 9/11. It's no different than Israel. They allowed that attack to happen because
so that they could squish them like a ball.
Come on, homie. Yeah. There's still hate there amongst them too. They're not doing this because they done this. It's still hate, and we've been wanting to do this.
It's crazy.
We've been taking and taking and taking. How much more we can't nobody stop us from taking from y'all because we got America on our side.
Just send some money over there.
And not only that, America send the most intimidating warship to side with Israel. So it make people like North Korea and Iran and China want to get involved.
That's the scary shit.
Because America and Israel are bullies. Damn. America and Israel are bullies. And I stand with Palestine. I stand with Palestine, homie, because I know the truth.
Now, I don't want to go on record as sitting here taking any side. I didn't
say Hamas.
I'm just saying. I just want people to know that for me individually, for sure. But I want people to know me individually. I ain't about to share my views on this.
I love my Jewish
people. I'm definitely going to respect somebody else's view. And
I love my Jewish people too. But right is right and wrong is wrong. And my mother taught me and raised me and indoctrinated me to, son, that you do right because right is the right thing to do. And with that belief and that understanding, there's no way that I can stand on the side with Israel and not have compassion and understanding and for Palestine and not be able to identify who and what is right. If it's only so much you can take. And if you think Hamas is wrong, you're going to think black people is wrong when they can't take no more. I'm going to say that again.
Well, Hamas and Palestine, and you got
Hamas, Hamas is the street niggas in America when they get fed up. And Palestine is the black Negroes who follow the law and went to white people's schools. We are the Hamas. Every time there's a police shooting and we tear up something, we are the Hamas. When George Floyd was murdered, we was Hamas. When we burnt down buildings and we was Hamas. The black people that didn't do it, they was the Palestinians. Do you see the difference? But we're all the same. Listen to me. There was some black people who went out and destroyed things because George Floyd was killed. There was some black people who didn't go out and destroy nothing. It's the same with Hamas and Palestine. You can only take so much. There's gonna come a time in America when there are gonna be some ignorant niggas in this country is gonna do the exact same thing that Hamas done to Israel because they couldn't take no more. How many more police shootings can we take before we do what Hamas did? How many more Dylan Roof shootings can we take before we do what Hamas did? How many more injustices can we take in America before we respond like Hamas, North Korea, Iran, and the rest of the people who they try to make believe that they are terrorists?
Start a revolution, basically. He said,
we are the Hamas.
yeah.
We are not the Palestinians, nigga. We are the Hamas niggas. So don't get tricked into what they are telling us because the Jews control the media.
You already said enough dope shit.
Goddamn. You know what I'm saying? I know everybody's not going to agree with Charleston, but I feel like his analogy and the way that he laid it out really hit the spot. I think that we don't know, we're undereducated about history because of the simple fact of, you know, they didn't teach none of this, what we're learning today in 2023 in high school. They didn't teach that they didn't teach that in school, right? So we're disadvantaged for the simple fact of people are starting to find out the truth. And they don't like that. They don't, our government, and I'm going to say this again, our government doesn't like that, right? Just yesterday, I was in an interaction with John Justice and AK Kamara on Twitter. And damn, I would pull it up, but I got Rev's video queued up. But literally we were going back and forth, and AK asked why I feel like we need another revolution. Because I compare, I always hear the Republicans crying about tyranny and how the Democrats are trying to take away our constitutional rights. They were trying to take away guns. And then you hear the Democrats that the Republicans are trying to take away our right to vote. And there was various reasons why the American Revolution started. The same way that America was being oppressed by Britain, right, is the same way of how I feel like Black people are still being oppressed here in America. And it's not even just Black people, right? It's poor white people, it's poor Hispanics. And that's what's crazy is I think about Malcolm and I think about Fred Hampton and how they were trying to bring all races together to start a revolution. And that's what scares these people. That's what scares them. That's what scares them is that unity. And that's what I'm about to bring, because I'm literally to the point of the only way that I feel like coming out of it, because when we watch Reverend Tim Christopher, he dropped some jewels. He dropped some gems last night. And I'm mad as hell I missed it, because I don't know what was up. I didn't get no notifications last night that he even went live. And it makes me mad because he dropped some gems last night. And the part that, you know what, since I'm talking about him, I'm going to get into his, what I wanted to bring up on his insights about the other topic that I wanted to talk about today was faith-based initiatives. And that has to do with the Black church. And I feel like, when Bush did the faith-based initiatives, it killed the Black community. It killed it. And, because when you look at that legislation of faith-based initiatives, and then you look at what happened after that with Biden and the crime bill, right? We were doomed, and then it's only gotten worse since. So I want y'all to listen to Rev, because he really is powerful. Man, he's just, yeah. So I'm just gonna be quiet because he let him talk for himself.
When you see a beautiful glow in the air in April, more likely my granddaughter is going to be born. That's going to be probably one of the spoiledest kids you've ever seen in your life. I can guarantee you that. I can guarantee you that. But how we doing, people? How are we doing? I hope, like, again, everybody has had an awesome day. I hope everybody thought about blessings that God has given you and places that he's taken you that you didn't even realize you was going. Trust me when I say that. There's places God has taken me. I didn't even realize I was going there. You take a filthy rag off the streets, clean him up, and then give him an opportunity to do the things that we've done. That's nothing but God. That's nothing but God. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. And I don't care what anybody says to me. That's nothing but God, because I know what the devil looked like. I played with him. I hung out with him in the whole nine. But look at me now, right? Look at me now. But anyway, I you know what? I was going to talk about tonight something that Mandy, matter of fact, Mandy was shooting to show, this young man down in Georgia. And he had a question. It's funny because he had a question about the black church. And I had called a meeting. I had put out the flyers, not the flyers, I'm sorry. I had sent out the emails to pretty much every black church in Minneapolis, because I feel that we're not just gonna, like Randall was saying tonight, and I understand that's why I say I understand what he was saying, because I just did this and tried to have a meeting with some of these black churches, but they're just not. It's sad. It's sad because the church is supposed to be the foundation of the black community. And what people don't understand is once these preachers start getting money in their pocket, once these preachers start dressing the way that they dress and driving the cars that they drive, the community was not a priority anymore. It's how much money I can put in my pocket, how big of a church I can build, how many people that I can coerce to come into the church. I preach at my church once a month. It's 5 of us that preaches at Berean Missionary Baptist Church. I'll preach at my church once a month, maybe twice on a certain days. But the rest of my time is spent at the homeless camps, preaching to those people. Because if Jesus was here, okay, think about it for a second. If Jesus was here, that's where he would be. Jesus wouldn't be in a church. No, he wouldn't. Jesus was always with the poor, correct? That's where I'm at. Or I'm on the streets talking to these young kids and trying to make them understand their plot or the way they should be running life. But I don't get the same vibe from these black preachers. I don't ever see them out on the street. I ask them, why aren't you out on the street preaching? Well, I got this to do and I got this to do. Even when I was sick, when a couple weeks ago, I was as sick as a dog, as they say down south. But I still made time to at least give them people at those camps 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Broke my sermons down to 15 minutes to be able to go out and preach to these people. Because I believe if anybody need God, is when you're in a downward situation as they are. The one thing we do is we forget who God is. We do. I guarantee you, if you're down in the dumps, you're wondering why is your life so bad, you can't think about God. If you got more money than you can do with it, you don't think about God. I didn't want them not to think about God. So got up, put on something. The wife drove me down, got my little speaker out. I preached to them. I gave them some type of word to go on from God. And I wondered why I don't have any other black preachers out here doing that. But I realized, see, when I preach out there, there is no collection plate, not asking nothing from these people. I'm there to give them something, to give them hope, to be there, to talk to them, to let them know that God has not forgotten about them. But I can't get no black preachers to come out and hang out with me. That's the sad part about this thing. And it's frustrating because I know if we as churches lift up the community, our community can be a lot better than it is. If we can get inside these homes and start working with these kids and take a couple of these kids up under our wings. I teach Sunday school to the 15, 16, 17, and 18. Sometimes I got 13 and 14 kids in my class when the teacher don't show up, so they come over to my class. And I always ask them, what do you want out of life? What do you need? And the sad part about this also is a lot of these kids don't know. When I'm on the streets and I'm dealing with these kids and I'm talking to these kids, and when I hear a 15 and 16-year-old tell me, I want to make 21, that is so sad to me. When a kid sits there and says, I want to make 21. He's sitting there going, I don't even know if I'm going to be here when I hit 21. What am I supposed to do with that?
You know, that's something that I don't think a lot of people really get, you know, the gist of. And that's what frustrates me, is because we lose in the black community a lot of people before they graduate high school, before they're able to get a degree, graduate college, start a career. We lose a lot of people before they're even out of elementary school. And to hear that over and over again, because I was saying that when I was young, that I don't know if I'll see 18. And then when I seen 18, oh, I ain't gonna see 21. I ain't gonna see, and now I'll be 47 next year. I don't think people fully understand that these bullets don't have no names. None of these bullets have names, because these idiots can't shoot, first of all. But let me get back in the red.
One person, just like I wrote in my email, one person cannot turn a whole community. I just can't do it. I need the help from these other churches, which at this point in time, a lot of them are not willing to step up. Because right now, what people don't understand about the black churches are going down. There's not a lot of people who come to the churches. So a lot of these preachers who don't have a job, I do, been at the same company for 21 years, and relied on the money that was coming in, or is relying on the money that they can get grants from the state are freaking out because the money isn't as good as it was a few years ago. That's why you don't rely on that type of money. The church should not be taking care of you. Period. Point blank. I have been to other churches where when they invite me over there, you get a little stipend, $150 for preaching at that church. I'll take that same check, turn it back over to the church and say, give this to your youth program. Don't pay me for giving God's word. I don't need money for that. But what I need for you to do is make sure your youth program is vibrant and good. So I hand them the check back. I've never cashed one check from a church that I've preached, another church that I've preached at. I've never cashed one check from any church that I preach at. I don't get paid from my church for preaching there either. The only one in our church to get paid is our main pastor. We don't get paid for preaching. I don't get one dime. My money comes from my job that I've had for 21 years and my wife's job that she's had for going on 13 years. That's where our money comes from. So I don't need to go to the state and write a grant and then try to figure out how we're going to live on that grant money and also buy shirts, T-shirts, hot dogs, and hamburgers and a couple signs to put out, but then we're going to pocket the rest. Don't need to do that. We got a good living. Good living. I don't rent. My mortgage is almost paid off. My wife got her car. I got my little car. We good. My grandkids are happy. We're able to help our kids whenever our kids are there. So I don't need anything. I'm good. But these other churches, these other pastors, they use the church to enrich themselves. That's one of the reasons why they're not out here doing the things that needs to be done. That's one of the reasons why the black community is in a dire strait and so bad. We are in a dire strait right now. We are. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. There's no other way for me to put it. No other way for me to put it. And I believe the only way we're going to be able to turn this thing around, if we get some of these churches on board and doing the things that they should do. We get some of these pastors on board and doing the things that we should do. We get some of these reverends, some of these bishops, some of these deacons on board. And that's what my goal is. I'm going after the black church to start stepping up and doing the things that we should do. When I was growing up in Memphis, Tennessee, the black church was where you pretty much got anything you needed. I've gotten socks, shoes, underwear, shirts, some of everything, jeans. When the farmers had a little bit more than what they sold, they would bring it to the black church, and you can go there, you can get corns, tomatoes, beans. You can get all of that stuff right there at the black church. See, back in the day when they say bring your tithe to the storehouse, bring your tithe to the storehouse. What they meaning was to store up food and clothes. That's what that was meaning back in the day, not monetary money. And when people needed things from the church, you could go to the church and you can get those things. You can go to church and walk out there with a whole grocery bag full of stuff. That's what my grandmother and my grandfather would do.
You know, Rev just dropped a bunch of knowledge and a bunch of wisdom. I hope people were paying attention to what he was saying, because, you know, I literally been at events where you've had Black pastors be at these events, and they have never broke again shirts on, and riding around with fancy ass cars, and yet won't even that. Yeah, it just, I will say this, that when you have pastors like Clarence Hightower, Jerry McAfee, Brian Herron, Bishop Howell, you know, you have people like that will sit there and take money from the state, take money from the city, and that's how they live. That's how they live. They literally live off the backs of the state and pander to these people. And that's what's crazy, because they don't even live their life for God anymore at this point. You're literally living for that almighty dollar. You're living for the master. How are you now? How are we not still living in slavery times, when literally our leaders let money rule and not God? Come on, man. Like, just like Rev says, literally he's asked other Black pastors to come out and preach on the streets, and nobody ever takes him up on it. Nobody ever takes him up on it. But yet, that's why the Black community is the way that it is, because we don't have a community anymore. None of the pastors live in the community anymore. Think about that. They get their money and leave, and then go to the white man and go to Massa and pander and say, "Oh, we're fighting for them. We want to, you know, we're the voice, we're the leaders, we're the leadership," but yet don't even live in the community. You don't see them out and about like that. That's what's crazy to me. That's what's crazy. And I want to get into a little bit of what Charleston White had said earlier, is when talking about Israel and Palestine, and how people see Hamas and then Palestinians, and that's how I know we're undereducated. We're undereducated, because literally when you sit out here, when Black people, we call out injustices, right? We're seen as the bad guy, right? Because literally of how we see Black Lives Matter and regular Black people, right? Are Republicans and conservatives. It's no different. We're literally, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, we gotta stop thinking about past and history, because first of all, people don't even understand that. They don't even understand what is actually going on in Israel, Palestine, Ukraine, Russia, because America is a bully, and we've been a bully for years. We've been a bully. We're never gonna change a system that was never built for us. You can't join them. How are you gonna join something that you can never beat? Or they'll never even see you as equal. That's why these older politicians are so scared of the younger generation. And that's why I honestly feel like these politicians are so comfortable, right? They're so comfortable because of the simple fact of they know that they're the people, the puppets they have out in the community are gonna do, because they're gonna stop the people like Chaz. They're gonna stop the people like Marcus and Rev from actually getting people to actually, because one person's not, Rev's right, one person isn't gonna be able to do it. It's not. Me and Marcus ain't gonna be able to change North Minneapolis, Alamar. You know what I'm saying? You don't have, it's going to take a united front, and it's going to take more than just a few people. But people are so, they don't want to lead without that dollar being attached to it. And that's the problem, because money is the root of all evil. And if people don't understand that, because when you literally look at any of these scams and frauds that are going on, that the feds have busted, what is it? It all come back to, because I guarantee it, right? It's going to come back to the churches. Shiloh. What's that other one? West Salem. Heron's Church, because it's going to come back that they were getting. And here's the crazy thing about how I know people are so ignorant, right? And so blind, that literally right now today, if you look at these people's LLCs, you go look at their board of directors, and you go see all of it. Why do you think people are all of a sudden falling out of races and trying to get out of that spot? Because they've been exposed. I'm surprised Osmond is really still a council member, because his wife's been linked to it on paper. Frey's wife has been linked to it on paper. Ellison, and not Jeremiah, Keith, talking about our attorney general. These same people that we vote in are crooks, sellouts. And yet, that's why we don't get no change, because the people that are literally supposed to be fighting for us, they're not. They take the money and run. They take that money and run. And we're too egotistical. We're too selfish to call it out. Because it's always somebody got to be the leader. Ain't none of us the fucking leader. And excuse my French today, because I'm really trying to change. I don't need to cuss all the time, because that doesn't make me, I want people to, and not that I want to change my delivery, because I'm never going to change up who Chaz Neal is. I'm never going to change that up. I'm never going to be silenced. I'm not going to stop calling out the so-called community leaders, because I'll tell you right now, Rochester, Minnesota, I'm on y'all ass. I'm going to tell you, I'm just really trying to be patient and figure how to handle this situation, because of the simple fact of a lot of the so-called community leaders in Rochester, I know them. Some of them I consider, friends, and it's a touchy situation for me, and I want to go about this the right way and not just be out here be impulsive, and because I'm mad, or the community's not going to get better that way. But I am going to figure out a way to do it constructively, to call out the so-called community leaders in Rochester, Minnesota, for the simple fact of, you guys care more about money than you actually care about the community anymore. And that's what's sad to me, is we're letting our kids literally get killed daily, and we're not doing anything about it. We're not trying to educate our kids, because we're still letting them listen to murder music. You know what I'm saying? We're not calling out the bullshit that's going on at the schools. We're not calling out the motherfuckers out here selling drugs. We're not doing none of that. And why? Why are people so scared to call out the wrongs in our community? Why? I will never understand that. Why are we so scared and timid to call out the wrongs being done in our communities? Because they're not. Why? Why do we continually want We don't want bad cops, but yet we allow bad community members. We keep on voting for bad politicians who don't care. Our attorney generals, county attorneys, they don't care about us, because if they cared about us, they'd be fighting for us, and actions speak louder than words. And I want people to remember that, because they can write any type of legislation they want, and it's never going to fix anything. Right. That's what people don't even understand. And if you look at these people's histories, the history, that's what's crazy. Because yeah, you can, you know what I'm saying? I do. Here's what's crazy to me, right? Is, you know, Rev brought up a good point today of our last night when he was talking about how people want to talk about him, right? Or being a bad guy. And it's like, wait, hold on a minute. Because at the end of the day, he doesn't have a criminal record. But yet we literally have pastors that have embezzled and took money when they were council members. They sit there and they've literally, how can you call yourself a pastor and you literally supposedly been an anonymous tipster and turned in an innocent young man? How are you a pastor when you literally knowing people are out here killing people and yet not doing anything about it, but being silent and to get your money, right? Because money talk, bullshit walks. That's what's sick to me. It's like people are so scared. And you know what, Rev is right too, because when you look at these congregations, look at these black church congregations. Go look in them churches sometimes. Go into Shiloh, how big it is, and see how much people really don't be in there, right? Or how their daycare is basically like a fucking jail. Yeah, they're preschool. They don't even be watching them kids. Yeah, but that's supposed to be a church. No, you ain't never gonna silence Chaz Neal. Nope. And that's why these people don't want to unite, for the simple fact of, it ain't even the fact that they don't want to. It's the fact that there's so much history in the past that they definitely can't let bygones be bygones, and they won't let bygones be bygones because they're egos. They're selfish. They're selfish. Literally, faith-based, and everybody's worried about the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigations, right? We got our own FBI to be worried about. Faith-based initiatives, because it's killing the black community, and we're allowing it. And we're allowing it. We're allowing it because they don't want the truth. They don't want the truth, because at the end of the day, our own government allows for fentanyl to be sold. They allow it to come in our country. They allow the kids to get these guns, right? All because it makes money. It makes money. So, just like Charleston White said, when is enough going to be enough, right? When is enough? When are we going to be doing what Hamas is doing, right? Since they want us, and at this point, people can call me whatever they want to, because I stand with Palestine. I stand with Palestine. Hate it or love it, I don't give a. I stand with Palestine, and I will never change. Doesn't mean that I hate is Jewish. No, but when you understand history, when you understand what's right and what's wrong, and not to be political, because that's what this is. Israel and Palestine is political. It's not about doing the right thing. It's not about doing the right thing, because think about it, the Holocaust, right? Where did that happen at? Germany, right? Now all of a sudden this is happening in the Middle East, which is Arabic. I don't know. And it's sick. It's sick. Oh yeah, and that's what's crazy, because if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. They still running the same shit. That's what's crazy. They literally still running the same shit with the gangs, the churches, and everything. These violence interruption groups. It's all, man, all of this shit. That's why at the end of the day, I don't trust our government. I don't trust these paid actors anymore. And at the end of the day, I'm really have lost a lot of respect for people, community leaders in our community. I don't look at a lot of people the same like I did in 2020. I really don't. I don't have the same kind words that I once did, because I see how fake people are. I've seen the fakeness come out, and that it wasn't about the community. It was about getting money in their pockets. Because if it was actually about the community, we actually see change, instead of, only thing that I've actually seen change is people's bank accounts, or the cars they drive, the houses they live in, the vacations that they're taking. That's the only thing that's changed. That's the only thing that's reformed, is their lives getting better. Not the communities, because at the end of the day, we're still out here saying, fuck 12, no justice, no peace, Black Lives Matter. But yet, they still taking lives. They still taking Black lives. So what are we really out here fighting for? Y'all really need to think about that shit. What are we out here really fighting for? So, y'all have a great Saturday. I'm going to only go live 4 days a week, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Wednesdays. And then I'm going to pre-record episodes for other days, because I really want to get more stories out, and I feel like doing pre-recorded probably will be better of my time. So be on the lookout for that. Oh yeah, definitely. We are the change. We are the people. And it is. That's Robert's definitely correct. It's a game theory, and it is all a game to them. It's you know, some people are out here playing checkers, and they're out here playing chess, which we need to be playing chess, not checkers. We need to be a step ahead. And if people understood what was happening, we could be a step ahead. But we have too many activists that really don't want change. They only want to fatten their pockets. So that's why we're not getting anywhere. That's why our education system sucks. That's why our public safety sucks. That's why our elected officials suck. It's because it's by design. So with that being said, y'all have a great Saturday, and I will be back tomorrow morning, a.m. So win or fail, freedom or jail, heaven or hell, wish me well.
Every day, fighting for my life. Every day, fighting for my life. Fighting for my life. Fighting for my bread. Grew from the seed you thought was rot. I think not. Fire bred desire to rise above denial. To rise from former ashes to face new trial. Trial for my triumph.